Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Audrey, and today we're going to be talking about my face routine when I do my makeup. So foundation, contour, highlight, the things that I do to try to achieve the my skin but better kind of look. So I struggle with a couple different things with my skin. I struggle with acne. As you can see, I still have some active spots. It's clearing up a lot, but I'm left with some texture, some scarring. So things like that I have to deal with. And then also I have combination skin, so it's kind of like, am I gonna have random dry patches? Who knows? Is my T-zone gonna be like wet looking by the end of the day? Probably. So I have some battles to fight with my skin. I'm sure you have unique battles that you fight with yours. So what works for me might not necessarily work for you, but I'm just gonna give you my tips and hopefully it will be helpful. So that being said, let's go ahead and jump on in to the stuff. Okay, so the first thing that I like to do is I like to start out with some kind of serum. I'm gonna be using the Black Tea London Classic Serum. This it's supposed to be anti-aging, but I just like how it is a little bit hydrating, and I feel like the slight oiliness of it helps my makeup go on more smoothly. I don't really prime my skin, so this is usually like the closest I get to doing anything that is similar to primer. Okay, so let's talk about something real quick. So I used to think that it was crazy to contour under your foundation. I was like, why would you ever do that? It's just gonna like wipe it all away. But I was watching this makeup artist that I really respect. Her name is Samantha Ravindall, excuse me, I can't talk. And she was talking about her friend Shaylin that always, she says, has like the most perfect makeup. And she convinced her to try the contour under the foundation. And she did a whole video on it. I'll actually link that video down below if you want to watch it. And it was like, it looked so good. I was like, really, anyway, I couldn't believe it because I always thought that that would just be like really heavy looking, but it actually ended up looking really natural. So today I'm actually going to do my contour two different ways. On one side, I'm going to take my LA Girl Pro Matte Foundation in a darker shade. This is the shade Sand. It's way too dark for me, and I'm gonna use this as a contour under my foundation on one half of my face, and then on the other half of my face I'm just gonna lay down my foundation like normal with nothing underneath it. And we're gonna just see, based on the two different ways that I would normally do my foundation, which one looks better. Spoiler, I've been doing the contour under my foundation for a couple of days now, and not a day has gone by that I haven't really liked it. So I just feel like, and Samantha says something similar in her video, that with powder contour we just tend to kind of go overboard. Like, I start with a light layer and I feel like it's not enough, so then I add like a darker layer, and then all of a sudden I feel like it's halfway down my face and I'm like, wait, like when did this happen? And I feel like that just doesn't happen when I'm blending my contour and my foundation together. Like, it just creates like more of a smooth gradient. So you see I'm just applying it along my jawline, in my cheekbone area, down the side of my nose, and on my like top of my forehead where I would normally contour. Now I'm going to take my Holy Grail foundation. This is the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Glow Foundation in the shade 204, which is called Natural Buff. Anybody who knows my makeup routine knows that this is like my foundation. I love it as far as like drugstore foundations go. I'm just going to take this and I'm going to blend it all over my face. I'm going to put it directly over the contour that I laid down. But anyway, what I love about this foundation is I feel like it has such a skin-like finish. Like, it has coverage. It's not the fullest coverage foundation in the world. I'm not really a full coverage girl anyway. But I mean, here, hold on, I'm gonna zoom you guys in so you can see what we're working with. Ooh. So, I don't know if you can tell, but, you know, I have spots and stuff here and just texture on my skin, but this does not accentuate my texture at all. It doesn't fully cover all of my hyperpigmentation, but I feel like it's kind of a small price to pay to have a little bit of my blemishes showing through, for the fact that they're not accentuated at all and they just end up looking like, my skin just ends up looking so even, I feel like. Sorry, that was like a really long ramble, and I don't know if it made sense, but it's fine. So as you can see, I'm putting my foundation directly over the contour, and it's still showing through, but it just looks really smooth, and it doesn't, like, it didn't actually disappear the way that I thought it would. I meant to conceal underneath my foundation too, but I forgot. So we're gonna be concealing completely over our foundation, but it's fine. And I'm just pressing my beauty blender into the areas that I think need a little extra coverage. Okay, anyway, so now I'm gonna take my ColourPop No Filter Concealer, and I'm just going to dot a little bit of that under my eyes, a little of that down my nose, a touch on my Cupid's bow, and a touch on my jaw. This is probably a shade too light for me, but that's what I purchased, so that's what I'm using. Alright, now we're gonna start blending that in with our damp beauty blender. Did I mention that this beauty blender was damp? If your beauty blender is dry, I find that it just like soaks up a lot of the, it's more wasteful. It soaks up a lot of the product, but then not only that, it sucks up the moisture in the product and sometimes will leave the product looking really dry and crusty. So having a damp beauty blender prevents it from making your makeup crusty. Just patting that in. We're not like wiping, we're patting. Now I'm gonna pat this into my nose. It's okay to use your fingers, by the way, if you feel like it's gonna get the job done faster. Sometimes, or if it gets in an area that you don't want it to be, just to wipe it off. I look like I have a milk mustache. It will all make sense though when we have it all done. And buff in the chin. And there we go. Now I'm just gonna take whatever's left over and just bring that down the sides. And I'm gonna add some lip balm because my lips are feeling dry because it's winter. Happy holidays. Alright, zooming you guys back out, you've had a good enough look at my skin. Okay, there we go. Now we're going to powder contour. So I am still gonna powder contour this side, but it's gonna be like much less because I already have it laid down. So I'm gonna take my Anastasia Beverly Hills contour kit. I'm gonna take this middle shade on a flat contour brush. I'm just going to dust my cheeks with the brush. I'm gonna bring it up. I'm gonna zoom out a little more. Whoop. I'm gonna bring it up into my hairline some. I'm gonna take it down my jaw. And that's all I'm gonna do on that side. Now on the other side, I'm gonna take an angled contour brush, go into that middle shade again. And so on this side, we already had the gradient down, but on this side, we have no sort of gradient. And that's what I think contour really needs, or else you'll end up with a harsh line. So we're gonna take our angled brush to start creating that that gradient effect. So we're gonna take the lighter shade and buff that in, bring it into the hairline, jawline. I'm going to take this darker contour shade onto our flat contour brush and gently swipe that on and then blend it out. Bring it down the edge of the nose. Oh, I didn't do that on this side. Bring it down the jawline. This is the powder side. I have less acne on this side, so that's nice. And this is the underneath side. I feel like actually this needs to be blended just a touch over here. What do you guys think? Is the difference worth it? I feel like today I did this side a lot nicer than normal, so it almost looks equal. But anyway, so that's two different techniques. You can decide what you think is more worth it. I honestly think that this just turns out more natural looking most of the time, kind of has that more like glow from within kind of look, whereas this can look a little more powdery. And also notice that by the end of the day this can travel more, but this holds up a little bit better in my opinion, the cream side. So anyway, you can choose what you think about it. And now we're going to move on to blush. So I'm going to be using my Tarte Amazonian Clay blush in the shade Tipsy. And I'm going to take that on a fluffy powder brush and just swipe it across my cheeks. Now, if you know me, you know I love a really blushy look, so I use way more blush than a lot of people would prefer, but you can use however much or however little is your heart's desire if you don't want to look quite like you've been sunburned. Put that up. And I usually put my blush basically anywhere that I would contour, plus the apples of my cheeks and the tip of my nose. I find that a kind of rosy contour line just looks healthy, in my opinion. Humans we naturally have some reddish tint to our skin no matter what our undertone is, so I just think putting a little bit of that back in looks really nice. That's it for blush, contour, and foundation and concealer, so really the only thing left is to highlight. So I'm going to grab my favorite highlight palette. This is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Glow Kit in Sundipped. This is basically one of the only highlight palettes I ever use. I'm a creature of habit, what can I say? I'm gonna take a denser fluffy brush. Since my skin is clearing up and it's a little bit less textured than normal, I can get away with using a denser brush and a heavier highlight, because normally I have to avoid that because highlight can really accentuate your texture. But I have to be less careful today, which is a really exciting moment for me. I'm gonna take the shade Moonstone, this really pretty pink shade. I do prefer a usually blushier highlight, no surprise there. And just applying that to the cheeks. So there we go, highlight is done, and now I just want a nude lip to go with this natural kind of glow from within look. So I'm going to take my Jeffree Star Velour liquid lip, this is in the shade Celebrity Skin, and just take a thin layer of this. So the way that I like to apply lipstick for a very smooth finish is I'll apply a thin layer over my bottom lip. Then I'll press my lips together and I'll go in, and I always wipe off the excess in the tube so that I don't get any more than I need. And then I'll just take it and draw it out to finish it up. Alright guys, so this is what we were able to come up with. This is my skin but better, natural, glowing from within, etc. makeup routine, so that hopefully at Christmas dinner my relatives will ask me about how I got my skin looking so good instead of asking me why I'm single. But anyway, please let me know in the comments below what you thought about the contour, if you think it made a difference, if you liked one side better than the other. I'm really curious about your opinions. And if you liked this video, please like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications, subscribe to my Instagram if you haven't already. Thank you guys so much for watching my video. I appreciate each and every single one of you, and I hope to see you again in my next video. Bye guys. Wasting away again in Margaritaville. Do, do, do.